So let's talk about a challenge that honestly hits home for anyone who has to write for their job. How do you make sure that final document, that report, that proposal, that article is as sharp and professional as the idea you started with? Today, we're going to break down how one company, Scriptorium Lab Services, is set up to tackle that exact problem. And this really is the question, isn't it? Every single thing we publish, whether it's a huge report or a simple email, it's basically our ambassador. It's sending these little signals about our attention to detail, our professionalism. So you got to ask yourself, beyond the words on the page, what's the silent message my work is sending out? Because let's be honest, getting from a great idea to a perfect final product, it can feel like you're navigating a minefield. It's a journey that's full of what we can call content hurdles. Oh man, we have all felt that little jolt of panic right after hitting send or publish. That, wait, did I miss a typo feeling? Is this idea really mine? These hurdles are everywhere, from formatting that's all over the place and just makes a document feel chaotic, to messaging that's just a little fuzzy. Each one of these things, it chips away at the authority of your work and leaves it feeling like it's missing that final professional polish. So this gap between a good idea and a perfectly executed piece of content, well, that's where specialized services start to come into the picture. Let's take a look at the solution Scriptorium Lab is offering up. Their whole mission is really built on three simple, powerful words: refine, correct, and elevate. It's a straightforward promise, but what's really interesting is how they're set up to deliver on it. It goes way beyond what a simple software tool can do. And here it is. This is the core of their whole approach. It's a hybrid model. Think about it. AI is absolutely incredible at catching systematic stuff. Spelling, consistency, repeated words. But what it often misses is the nuance, the tone, the context. That's where a human editor is just irreplaceable. So by putting the two together, the goal is to get the sheer power and scale of AI with the subtle expert touch of a human. So what does that actually look like in practice? Let's break down their core services and see how this all comes together. First up is their plagiarism fix service. In a world that is just drowning in content, originality is king. This service isn't just about avoiding trouble, it's framed as a way to proactively protect the integrity of your work. Now, here's what's cool. They don't just flag a potential problem and leave you to deal with it. The service is in the fix. They actually go in and rewrite and restructure those sections to make sure they're original. And the really crucial part, they aim to do all that while keeping the author's original message and intent intact. That is a tricky, sophisticated job, whether it's for a PhD thesis or a corporate blog post. All right, let's move on to their next service, editing and proofreading. This is where the real craft of writing comes in. It's about taking something that's already grammatically correct and making it truly powerful, making sure it flows, that it's crystal clear, and that it hits just the right tone for the person you want to read it. And they go deep here. This is not just about catching commas and spelling mistakes. Line editing, for example, is all about refining every single sentence to make sure it has impact. And that consistency check, that's a huge differentiator. Making sure specialized terms or style choices are used the same way throughout a long document, that is the hallmark of a truly professional piece of work. And finally, let's talk about formatting. This is something that gets overlooked so often, but it has a massive impact on the reader. Good formatting isn't just decoration, it's all about user experience. A clean, logical layout just makes your message so much easier to understand and absorb. Their approach here is really systematic. First, they apply consistent styles. Then they create a clear visual hierarchy, making headings and subheadings pop, so they guide the reader's eye through the document. And that last step is key. They make sure the final file is optimized for however it's going to be used, whether that's on a screen, as a PDF, or even printed out. Okay, so you put all of this together, what does it all add up to? Let's look at the real-world impact, what they call the professional difference. The transformation they're aiming for is pretty clear. The goal is to take content that might be good, but maybe feels a little inconsistent or has a few errors, and turn it into something that's just polished, accurate, and truly engaging. It's all about closing that final gap between an amateur finish and a truly professional one. And that really gets to the why of it all. Polished writing isn't just some academic exercise. In the business world, it's a tool. The idea is that content that's free from distractions and presented with absolute clarity is just better. It's better equipped to do its job, whether that's to persuade, to inform, or to sell. Which brings us right to the big takeaway and how you could think about applying an approach like this. So, if the ultimate goal is to make a stronger impact with everything you write, a service that layers technology with real human expertise, well, it's a pretty compelling model to think about. For anyone who wants to dig a little deeper into this specific service, their website is scriptoriumlab.com. It's a really interesting case study in a growing field that's all about one thing: making sure our communication is as professional as we are. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.